100%. Well, we're at top of the hour. Let's let all these amazing, incredible people in. Jasmine or Sherry, let the crew and the nation in. And here they come. Dun da 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 dun 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 dun.
Our words.
That's yes, I am geeking out over here on my own or with Tim. So what's up, guys? Hey, Travis, are we setting expired appointments yet?
Tomorrow's the first day they're getting imported, but we are going to be setting them like fire.
Yes, I love it. Yeah, let's go, baby. Chuck, are we getting the hour?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. Otherwise, I'd have to kick you. Chuck and I had one of those conversations where I said, Chuck, if you're not doing an hour of prospect, I'm kicking you out of the nation, right? So that is the hard line in the sand that we got to draw sometimes. TC, Tammy, is Acton opening up? What are we seeing?
Yes. A little bit. Just a little.
Awesome. And I think that we're going to see that moving forward as we begin to see it expand a little bit more. Marcus Van Zant, man. I know you guys are busier than a 1 hour paper hanger. What's going on in your guys' market down in Florida right now, man? Are we seeing any type of opening, constricting, all a little bit more of the same?
It's a lot of the same. I mean, we hover right around in our market at 30,000 units, and it's the same, just a lot of agents you got to compete with.
Yeah, totally. Well, the good news is those agents come dues time, gonna be gone, some of them. So thank goodness it's none of us over here. So we are going to be picking up and slaying dragons, my friends. So, this morning I talked to some of you guys about this. I'm going to say it again. 89. There it is. LaQuesta, what's 89 represent?
December 1st.
That's right. Good job, baby. Good job. That's how many days we got left in this year, right? And we got to make every single one of them count. I know you're thinking, what about December, coach? Well, December's for 2025, baby. You know what I mean? December is for 2025. So for those of you that are not with me this morning, I need you focused. In fact, all of the coaches have a specific requirement that if you're in coaching, you need to complete a 90-day plan, right? I know that the last quarter starts in October, November, December. RG3 Nation last quarter, guess when it starts, Dan? Started on the 1st, right? This is our 90-day run to the finish line. So we'll be sending out to you. Where is it? Do I have Sherry or do I have Jasmine today? Whichever one. We'll be sending out to you guys the 90-day action plan for you to complete, hi, Sophia. How are you? Good to see you, sister. I've missed you. Oh my gosh. So happy to see your smiling face, right? So complete your 90-day action plan. It's so funny, guys. I've been hammering my executive team that we are a company that runs on plans, right? And let me just read this to you guys, right? Hold on one second. So, Alex, cool. I said, listen, all great businesses, whether it's Tim's business or Tim's business that he sold for multiples of tens of millions of dollars, right? Every great business is run on a plan. How many of you guys believe that? Yes or no? Okay. It is run on a plan, right? And we create those plans, not because they're set in stone, but they give us guidelines and framework inside of which to operate. So I just want you to write this down. Here's my 7 steps for any type of a plan. Number 1, create the plan, which is, Marcus, so different than how most real estate agents actually run their business, right? Okay. Most real estate agents do what I call shag fly balls. Does anyone know what that is? Any baseball players? Anyone that watch baseball? Anyone knows about baseball? What is shagging fly balls? Balls are hit in the outfield. You're running over here, catch the ball, right? Throw the ball back into the infield, another fly ball, you run over. That's how most real estate agents run their business. No plan. They're by default, not by design, and they're reactionary versus diligently planned. Okay. So number 1 is when you get this 90-day LaQuesta action plan, complete it out, get some clarity around what it is that you're going to do for the next 89 days. Number 2, get feedback on the plan. Well, where can you get feedback on the plan? You can get it from your coach if you got a coach. You can get it from me if you want to send it to me. You can get it from our executive team. You can get it there. You can get it from other people that are involved in G3 Nation. You can put it up on the Facebook group. Say, here's my plan, guys. Take a look at it. What am I missing? Here's number 3. Number 3 is establish accountability around that plan. Establish accountability, Allison, around that plan. Who are you going to check in with? That's one of the great reasons to have a coach, right? Is because you got built-in accountability, but that isn't the coach's only job. The coach's job is to help you create the plan. Coach's job is to help you see where the holes are in the plan. Coach's job is to hold you accountable to the plan, give you feedback on the plan, etc., right? But see, you got to have accountability, because if there is no pressure around the plan, there will not be the diamonds of the results. Does that make sense, guys? If there is no pressure, there is no diamonds. And if there are no diamonds, what in the hell are we doing? All right. So you got to get that feedback on the plan. Then number 4, you need to execute with relentless discipline on the plan. You live your life, John, by that plan in your business. Every single day looking at it, every single day, what am I going to implement? Every single day, okay, great, what adjustments I'm going to make? Then number 5, this is a big one. This is why we have our relationship with CTE, right? Many of you guys don't know that, but when you get involved in coaching, we also give you a tracking and monitoring system called CTE. That is one, in my opinion, the easiest, simplest process to be able to actually keep track of your numbers. Why do you keep track of your numbers? So you can make data-driven decisions to adjust the plan. Number 6 is make necessary changes or adjustments to the plan. Make necessary adjustments to the plan. Chuck, we're not set in stone, but we don't want to be moving around too much. Does that make sense? Because a lot of times what I notice, Cindy, is we make moves on changing the plan when we haven't stuck to the plan enough. And rather than sticking to the plan and the repetitious boredom of sticking to the plan, we start looking for ways to tweak the plan. I don't need you guys to be tweakers. I need you to be executors, okay? I need you to execute and then have someone looking at it. Then last but not least, number 7, execute on any adjustments. It's really simple. And then you execute on any of the adjustments. Create the plan, get the feedback on the plan, establish the accountability around the plan, execute on the plan, monitor the results of the plan, make necessary changes, execute on the plan. If I'm on Marcus's team or on Baird's team, or if I'm on Andrew's team, or I can just go through all the teams that are, or Colton's team, I'm going to take that plan. I'm going to give it to my sales manager. I'm going to give it to the owner of the company. I'm going to say, here's my plan. Can you hold me accountable? What am I missing? Etc. It's one of the beautiful things about being part of a great team. And I'm sure, Marcus, you'd be more than happy to be able to look at 25, 30 plans to be able to help your team be able to ultimately move forward. Okay. Now, Andrew, it's so different than the average agent that just says, well, whatever comes my way today comes my way. Whatever comes my way these next 90 days comes my way. Rick, we got to be diligent, whether it's on the recruiting, diligent in having a plan for the recruiting, a plan for our execution in terms of production, etc. Any questions on that, my friends? So you guys are going to get that 90-day action plan. I'd love it for you guys to, post it inside of the Facebook group once you've got it done, and say, hey, I'm looking for some accountability, because here is what is coming our way, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. We're actually at 6.40 today. September, if we get a quarter point drop, which we are, 6.17, get another quarter point drop on that 65th day from today, which is the next Fed meeting after September the 18th. We're at 5.92. Woohoo! Then December, we're at 5.67. My friends, we're going to go into January minus any type of major change in the mid to low 5s on interest rates. Okay. Your plan is critical to be able to convert the people over now and load the cannon for 2025 to have it be the best year of your life. That's what I'm committed to for all of you guys. So any questions on this, my friends? Questions, comments, hallucinations? Okay. How many of you guys are going to be excited when that first rate cut hits? Yeah. Oh, Rick, 2 hands and both feet up in the air, brother. Like, for sure. So remember, Tammy, like I said to you, and I'll say to all of you guys, if you're going after price adjustments on your listings, really have that set up so that you hit them hard on the week after September the 18th. Okay. We should, Judd, be able to see now, Judd, Canada's got a 50 BPS, 50 basis point cut that's coming back. We have a 37% chance now, John, of it being a 50 basis point drop here in the States. but it's about 60% chance of a 25 basis point drop. But I'm telling you guys, we get that 50 basis point drop in September, buckle up, ride that Bronco. Here comes the bull. It's time to ride. Okay. So, but at least we know we're going to be in the mid fives going into 2025. So that's why I'm going to be pushing the eyes. Okay. All right. Any questions, comments, concerns, hallucinations? No? Coach, when are you going to stop talking about interest rates? I'm not. It's always going to be a part of our conversation. Let me go back to this. If I got listings, I know it sounds odd coming from me. I'm not pushing too hard for price adjustments right now for the next week and a half. Does anyone know why? Tammy, you and I talked about this. Why am I not pushing
The
hard?
rate cut.
Yeah, I'm going to say, hey, we got a rate cut, Destiny, that's coming. We should be able to actually see an increase in activity. If we don't see the increase in activity and we don't have an offer on your property with this rate cut, we know that it's for sure price, and we need to get a little bit more aggressive on that. I'm going to use the Fed's movement as an opportunity, and I should have great feedback because it should create a lot of activity at that point. And if it doesn't create a lot of activity, we know that price is problematic at that point. Okay, so alrighty. So, hey, Travis, listings that you're sitting on, prep them and prime them. Chuck, anyone that you got that's sort of stale, be on it, right? Get them ready. Let them know the storm's coming, and we need to be able to actually then on September the 20th or 25th, right? Then we're pushing hard for the cuts, okay? Or excuse me, the adjustments, right? The adjustments. So I know that language creates reality. Alrighty. Well, guys, today we got a special treat, and I'm super pumped for you guys to get a chance to actually, my commitment to you always is bringing you top minds in the space, right, of real estate and also outside of real estate. And Tim is in both, has navigated both areas. And I think what you look at when you look at someone that's had the serial success that Tim has had, right, you can notice that there's certain principles in sales and business management and marketing and development, that run whether you're in tech, that run whether you're in the car business, it runs whether you're in commercial, it runs whatever, it runs if you're in residential real estate, right? And Tim is a serial entrepreneur and now runs a group called TheShareGroup, right? That is 100%, okay, designed around being able to provide great data to agents in relationship to market data. How many of you guys would love to know in a specific area how many people are are high potential for divorce, and that you need to be in communication with them because they probably are going to be getting rid of their house? Yes. How many of you would like to have a list that's accurate with phone numbers, accurate phone numbers to the individuals that are, and I'm sorry, Tim, I always say sure instead of share. It's my bad, dude. I prep myself. So most likely to lists, people that own multiple properties as well too, right? So it is absolutely, as you guys know, at our core, we are prospecting based. When Tim and I started having a conversation, it got me really excited because he said, we believe in these guys not just leaning into marketing, we believe in them actually working it diligently in terms of prospecting. I said, bro, you are talking my language, right? And so Tim is going to take you through conversion techniques, business development tactics, right? At the end, he's going to share with you some of the great stuff that I put my stamp of approval on. So Timmy, they are all yours, brothers. So Mr. Tim with TheShareGroup, if you guys would give it a big round G3 Nation applause and thank Tim for taking time out of his busy schedule of growing this incredible business to be with us.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach. A presentation that can meet that introduction is my first challenge of the day. So thank you. There are some new folks here that you haven't seen before. So I've got my team tuning in. I want them to hear the voice of the realtor, the voice of the leaders, and they're going to give me lots of critique on how this went. I kind of feel like an agent who went on their first listing appointment because I'm not a realtor. I'm not a realtor coach, but I am CEO at TheShareGroup. I'm a data guy who has turned his attention based on relationships that I have in this industry with the founders of TheShareGroup. 7 years ago, Jared Wright started TheShareGroup. He's on the call today. We may hear from him later. And Drew Lundgren, Chief Marketing Officer. I said, this is a great opportunity. I love what you're doing in the business, and there's so much more that can be done. So I love working with realtors. I have probably 20 conversations a week with people just like you who are looking for the advantage and the edge in order to be able to get more listings. And that's really what our data and our solutions have been able to do in this industry. And second goal is to make this the best presentation I've ever done. We'll see how we do on that. All right, Bubble Yum to Inc. 5000. So I was raised lower middle class. Parents had 2 divorces. It was very ugly. Oh, they also married each other twice, so that was fun. But started selling bubble gum in junior high. My first W-2 was in a Chinese restaurant. I made $9 a night. It's fantastic. I was a prodigious saver, so much so that my dad had a bank loan. And every time I came home from work, he's like, can't make that bank loan, can't make that bank loan. And I said to my brother who could drive, I said, I've got $800 in the bank. Take me over to the dad's bank and we're going to pay this loan off. I met the loan officer. He's like, who are you? I go, my dad owes you money. I paid off the loan. Big win. I was 15 years old. 6 years later, a friend of mine is selling a Scandia down shop. If you've ever been to one, they sell $300 to $1,500 pillows. I knew it was a franchise. I knew it was a business that was poorly run, and they made money. So I bought that store in 21 when I was a senior in college. I sold it 4 years later. I worked at a lot of data companies for the next 20 years. I started Healthcare Data Solutions at 40. That was the $120,000 seed money to start the business. We sold that in 2015 for $42 million. I was a small shareholder at that time, but it was a big win. And to get on the Inc. 5000 list 3 years in a row was really, really awesome. The entrepreneurs that you meet there are life-changing. It's a great experience. So I then went into construction data. So I worked for a company called Build Central. We sold commercial construction project information. And then last year, found TheShareGroup, and I've been running hard in this group ever since. So what can I teach realtors, great successful realtors, from a perspective that's business to business and selling? I would like to help you lead the conversation by asking better questions. I think you close more deals by asking the right questions. So let's get more listings. Lead types that are available, we'll talk briefly about that. I think Realtor, Zillow, those platforms devalue you in the market. You pay a lot of money not to be the realtor, but just to be a lead receiver. So we want to get the best leads and make certain that your market and your funnel is full. So how do I train my team? What's my lead here? The person asking the questions we know is leading the conversations. Clients don't know the right questions to ask. If we entertain them, we head down a bad path. So we're going to stop answering those wrong questions. We're going to lead them by asking the right questions, because I know if I can sell you on how to make a decision, I can really lead you to the best decision. But if you come at it and ask me bad questions that don't go anywhere, like we hear, is your data any good? I think your house is expensive. I think this is too much money. And we start reacting to those questions defensively. We really don't understand. Most clients will not reveal their real risk, their real motivation until they trust you. And in that meeting, we have to prove it's in your best interest to hire me. And that's a challenge. So how do we do that? We focus on the outcomes. How many of your clients want to focus on the strategy? There's only 2 goals that we have in this job that I'm aware of. Sell a home and find a home. And we're going to focus on selling a home. All these other things are noise. And they're probably misaligned with what's the right thing to do as the expert in the market. So we're not going to lose a deal because we disagree on a strategy or a tactic, because you're going to trust me to execute the goal that you want, which is sell my home. How does that sound? Does that sound fair? Perfect. So I'd like to relate this to an investment case study. So Coach Pipes earlier said something that really reminded me of this same analogy, which is salespeople, realtors can be a lot like golden retrievers. They meet somebody who's remotely interested. They throw the bone and we run hard and to go find that bone and we bring it back. We just don't know how many times we're going to throw that bone before we get to eat. It's just an exercise because they're not qualified. So here's my case study. This is 2 minutes long. I have 2 investment companies that I work with that are brokerage companies like, Ameritrade or Wells Fargo, something like that. And I said, I'm thinking about working with one of you instead of 2. And I said, if I gave you the money I have at B and gave it to A, and if I had the money in A and I gave it to B, how would you do things differently? How would it be for me as a client if I fired one of you and gave the money to one to manage? And they both came at me and pitched hard. They said, this is the analysis, this is the breakdown, this is the beta, this is the income, this is the retirement strategy, all of this sort of stuff. Before they did all that work, which was probably 20 hours worth of work, and analysis to create their presentation, nobody stopped and said, Tim, what's the goal here? If anybody would have asked me, why are we going through this exercise? What's the goal? You've had relationships with these two firms for 8 years, and now you're thinking of firing one. I would have said, I don't like having two relationships to manage. I have to keep A and B in a line. I have to ask two people for one thing. You guys compete with each other. And so for me, it seems a little out of alignment with what would be easiest for me to participate in and manage. But nobody said, what would happen if we just worked together as a team, two different companies in the marketplace that compete? But what if just for you, we took those troubles off the table, but you didn't have to make any big moves. You didn't have to fire anybody. Would that get you where you want to go? And I only came to that conclusion after I was creating this presentation. I'm like, if we actually figure out what the client's objective is, what they're afraid of, or what they're drawn towards, we can help them get there. And a great interview will tell you all you need to know about the risk of working with that client. And when I say risk, I mean the risk of anybody getting paid. That means you or your competing realtor. There is an imminent transaction coming. They're going to buy or sell in the next 6 months. The risk is we spend time on people, prospects, or companies that don't transact. The best salespeople find that risk and they address it early and often. So we want to ask the best questions because we want to understand the risk in every transaction. Is there going to be a sale even at all? We want to focus, we want to listen and focus. We get the highest quality prospects. We want to sell a better plan. We want to ask the right questions so we achieve, ultimately, everybody wants a higher return on their time. Nobody's getting paid here unless we have results, and everybody's putting in as much time as they can into their business. The real equalizer is, what is your income divided by hours invested in your business? So if we begin investing in clients who have the highest probability of any transaction, we have a much better outcome on our own results. This is the first question that tests this theory. So I have 2 referrals, and I'm going to ask somebody to answer this question, and I'll probably pick on Tammy because we've spoken before, if that's okay, if you want to unmute. So Tammy, I have 2 referrals. You can only pick one, okay? And in one referral, they only want to meet with you, one realtor. And it's a $400,000 home. And in the other one, they want to interview 3 realtors, and it's a $700,000 home. You can only pick one referral. Which one do you want? And can you tell us why?
I'd probably go for the 3 because it's the price point's more money. Mm-hmm.
Right.
And then it's, of course, unfortunately, the competition of winning the lead listing. So, and then your skills to show what you have. So you're against other people as well.
I agree. And the other reason is somebody who's only meeting with one is either definitely going to hire you or has only a mild amount of interest in a transaction. But somebody who invests the time to meet with 3 realtors is more serious and is going to make a better decision, I think. So I think you're right. You have a higher return and you're going to take on competition for that opportunity. So that's a more qualified prospect. On our team, when we talk about there's too many customers for us or too many prospects to call in a day, no time is ever wasted working on a low-risk client, prospect, or lead. Low risk is high-value transaction, high probability of a transaction. But we waste tons of time with these people who are nice to us and like to talk to us and are interested in a home market valuation. And it's just social grip. It goes nowhere because we don't vet the risk. We don't ask the hard questions. So going back to the interest rate, I like the trial closes so much. Like if we were at the 5.75 today, would you be a seller in the market? Yes, I would. If that's true, what should we do today? Asking a great question. What should we do today? We should probably get ready to list, I would think. So the person who's working the most qualified prospects at that time, and they change day by day, I think always wins. All right. So this is going to be a little bit of a reflection on my experience with realtors, and maybe it's helpful for you that we become more relational and not transactional, because we all have this Rolodex of 250 to 300, 400 people that we've done a deal with. These are phone calls that I have never received from a realtor. And I've done 14 transactions in 30 years. How refreshing would it be to go, hey, Tim, I was just thinking, do you know that we closed on your home 5 years ago today? I remember how nervous your wife was to move. How's it going? Would that be a great call? Tim, we sold your condo 6 months ago. True. I'd just like to follow up and ask, is there anything I could have done to make that a better experience? And how long do you see yourself in the current home? Because you win on, by the way, going back to, I remember how nervous you were about the move. How's it going? If it's great, you're a hero for caring about them as a person, and you're going to get a referral or a follow-up transaction. If they say terrible, wow, I'm sorry to hear that. Where would you like to move? There's another deal. It's a win-win in that situation. And tell me about your neighbors. Tell me how it's going. I mean, there's a lot of good things that can come from that. So based on that, I mean, would it be fair to say that I can count on a call from you when you're ready to sell? Awesome. I think those are great intros I'd love to see happen. So when you realize that every question from a buyer is building a case of working for you or against you, you have to be very thoughtful about how you answer those questions. And the defensive word salad that tries to touch on every possible rebuttal fails completely. We don't want to do that. We really want to get underneath the covers and find out what they're really trying to figure out.
Hey, Tim, go
ahead, Coach.
Can you go back to that last slide? I want people to get this. Like this
okay, good.
This is so critical. Every interaction and every conversation that you guys are having, this is an incredible point, is either building the case for or building the case against working with you. It all matters, right? And I think sometimes, Tim, I notice people just punch in the clock of contact-itis to say I put my hour in, but every interaction matters. It's either building the relationship or it's breaking it down. I think this is so important that all of you actually get this. So sorry, I just didn't want it to be something.
I love that.
Great idea, but no, like that right there is why communication matters. So please continue.
Cool. And the thing, when I think about every interaction, which is a better, broader definition, is like we have a big lawn and they have concerts there. There's probably 20 realtors and 700 people there, right? And Mark last week said he quit drinking. If you have too much to drink at the party and your prospects and customers are there, how does that go? Like you're unfortunately almost always on, given the social and relational nature of the business that we're in. So this is the next challenge I really like. So are these good questions or common questions that we hear in a listing interview or a kind of like are we thinking about this, or I'm interested? Do you get these types of qualifying questions from sellers? So are they good questions? And if they're not, what would be a great question to follow up on any one of these? And I have a very limited view. So I see Dan and Hubbard and nobody else, or just turn off the mic. We want to take on one of these questions. Have you sold this neighborhood before? Anybody want to tackle that one? How will you answer that question?
Yeah, guys, jump in. I'd love to hear from how you guys handle this.
I respond to the one about staging. I actually take pictures of my listings when I go out to list it, what it looks like. And then I have a professional photographer, and I have a lady that goes in there and cleans and starts packing anything that, because I go, we're going to sell this house. So whatever you're not going to use in the next 30 days, separate it, let's get it packed. And then I bring my photographer in, and you could see that before and after, on staging and why it's important to stage your home.
Okay. So Betty, I'm a potential seller. Can you answer the question, do I need to stage this to sell it?
And is this over the phone?
Yeah. It's just you and me chatting.
I really need to get out there and take a look at the house, because some homes we don't have to do a lot of staging, but it's important that I go out there and actually physically see your property. It's important so I could give you the best answer. I don't want to just guess at one of your, I want to make sure I'm answering it correctly and I'm seeing because you can't answer it if I don't see the house. It might not need to be staged.
Great. I'm going to ask you a tougher question, and the only good answer is a question and a question alone, Betty. Let's do this together. I have banana yellow wallpaper in my downstairs bathroom. Do I need to take that down before we sell?
I would say yes. Well, I live in the desert, so we don't have banana wallpaper.
You need to ask me a question. Okay, you need to ask me a question. I'm looking for a question back. Hey, have you ever sold in this neighborhood before, Betty? Can you ask me a question back?
I have. Yes, I have. Why is that important to you?
There we go.
Because I want to know why when they ask me a question,
yes,
staging is that important. Why is that important to you? Because it might not be. We think we got to do all this stuff, and I want to know really what they want, what they think a realtor's job is, or what they want their realtor to do.
Awesome, Betty. Great job.
Good job, Betty. All of these questions are traps, and if you answer because what they're going to say is, well, I just met with Bill and he said he could. Then what are you going to do? Right? So we want to ask the question. We want to ask that follow-up question that clarifies, can we get $700,000 for the house, or can we sell it in 30 days? Well, let's dive in a little bit more. How did you come up with that number? Have you sold this neighborhood before? I have tons of experience. I've been a realtor for 6 months. I don't care what the number is, but tell me what's most important in selecting, because we go back to the first slide, which is if I can sell you on how to make the decision, I can lead you to the best decision. So that follow-up question is super important. We all get this question, why should we hire you? Right? Do not make it word salad. And I don't want to hear the stats. I don't want to hear we have 140. The numbers don't matter. It's a person you're selling to. And I'm confident we can make a good team. That means it's not just about me. I'm confident we can make a good team. Let me ask you a few questions first. If you get them to share their best and worst home selling experiences, they're trying to get as far away from that bad experience as possible and have another good one, right? So what happened there? And to get to the real part, like if my realtor would have asked me, what's going to be the trickiest part? Like making my wife comfortable moving from a neighborhood where we've been entrenched for 20 years and going to a brand new place is super scary. So getting them to reveal their true risk and their true intention about this move helps you understand and position for it to be the very best solution for them. How will you decide who you're going to hire? That's the killer question. How will you decide? And they're going to tell you right now whether it's you or not you pretty quickly, just based on that, I think. Any more on this, Coach Pipes?
Well, we've had conversation about move towards pleasure, move away from pain. And so many people use a strategy of move towards pleasure when most people are wired to be able to move away from pain. What I love is you use a great combination of about 80% of these are move away from pain and 20% are move towards pleasure. What's the most important thing for us to accomplish relative to this transaction? Pleasure driven. What's going to be the trickiest part? Move away from pain. What may cause you stress? Move away from pain, right? I'm not sure how many of you guys notice all of the great stuff that Tim, and I know that you do, has already put in here. But what I think is so critical is that he or she who asks the most questions is always winning the sales game. Period, man. Always. These are great.
And listening.
And listening.
And listening. Yes. Yep. And listening and recording. So who have you interviewed? Like so many times we don't really want to know if we're competing. We just ignore it. So who else? And it's not their job to tell you. Who else have you interviewed and how'd it go? What did you like about it? Whatever you liked about it, you can steal immediately and put it in your bucket. That's not that hard to do because you're smarter and you're better at that. So now that we've had this in-depth conversation, I really understand the kind of the emotional, the fear, the pleasure that you're seeking in this transition. Let me play this back and make certain I have it correct. So you want daily communications. My last realtor wouldn't do that. You want ample lead time on showings. You're okay with one or two this. You want 600,000. Do I have that right? Did I miss anything? Did I leave anything out? Now, if I ask you this, if I deliver on all of this, is there any reason that you wouldn't hire me today? Because I want to go mining for any objections. I want them all on the table as soon as possible. Any objections, any challenges along the way, in their control, out of their control, I really want to know what that is. And again, am I competing with anybody else?
Hey, Tim, Colton said, can you go back to the previous slide really quick? So
Yep.
grab that picture, screenshot that, Colt.
I have no problem sending this deck around as well because it's all built for you, Coach.
They're going to want that, dude. They're going to want that. How many of you guys, if you would please in the chat, say please, right, with the begging hands, right, for Tim to send it out in the chat. All right. Yes. Love it. There we go.
We'll get that out. You'll have the whole deck as a PDF. So here's the scary part. In order to get their trust, which means they're going to work with you regardless, the purchase price is not as important. And guess what? Integrity, honesty doesn't really come up in the criteria, even though it should. Because if you're going to fully identify and empathize with that client, it means you're almost indifferent about whether they hire you or not. Because you may have to tell them it's not the right time to sell. This isn't the best home that you can find. And the way that I communicate that is to say, any realtor would be stupid not to take this listing today, but here's my concern. Like, I am leaning in because I now believe you're willing to forego your own immediate financial gain for my benefit. And now I have a client. If you've been a realtor for 20 years in the same market, you should never have to prospect again. If you treat all your clients this way, because they would never work with anybody else. I think that could be true. No other realtor is going to tell you this, but based on your goal, here's what I think we should do. I want to hear things like that from my realtor. And you know what? I don't have as much experience in this, but I have a colleague who's done it to us. Let me check with them. You're going to go talk to a colleague and get some more information because you're not a know-all expert. I love that. You know exactly what you know, and what you don't know, you're going to go get help on. Perfect. That's why good doctors don't compete for business, right? They're sought out because of their reputation and their results. So the last piece here is, as I'm getting towards the end, do we want to take any questions on that you don't want to hear in an interview, at a listing appointment, a showing, or anything like that, where you go like, I don't know how to answer that one. That's a tough one. If you do, love to hear what that is.
Yeah, let's hit it in the chat, dude. What's the tough question, guys? Yeah, what's the tough question that you guys look at and you're just like, oh, dude, this is the one that when I get it, I'm like, oh, man. So let's see in the chat. This is where they get so shy and quiet. They're the most talkative group, and then all of a sudden they get shy and quiet. Come on, guys. What's your biggest question? What's the biggest question? Objection, challenge? Well, like whether it be at the beginning when you're building the relationship or later on. Tammy, what's yours?
For me, it's always the commission. They always ask about commission. I think that's the toughest challenge on a listing because they don't want to pay it. And they want the highest price, so they're going to base it off commission. So I always have a hard time with that.
Big. All right, let's do it. Let's do it real quick.
Okay.
Tammy, ask me a question. Do not answer this question. What's your commission, Tammy?
I'll answer the question. Would you like to know what my commission is, Tim?
I'm Realtor Tim. Tammy, you're the buyer. You're the seller. You're the seller.
Okay.
Ask me.
I'm the seller.
Tim,
Tim, what do you charge for commission on listings?
Have you heard all this stuff in the news about NAR lately?
Actually, I have heard a little bit about it.
It's kind of confusing, isn't it?
It is.
Okay. So
can you explain it to me?
Do you remember what you paid for your commission in your last transaction?
Yeah, it was around 6%.
6%. That seems high.
Total. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. So let's take it this way. So commission is a factor along with all the other expenses in the transaction, right? How would you express what you think would be fair in a commission transaction of this size? Do you have any inkling about what you'd like to pay before we get there?
No, I do know what I'd like when someone lists my house, but I don't know if that's based off commissions.
This is where I'm Tim, the sales coach, out of depth, but I would say, is the most important thing how much is on the final settlement in your bank account?
Yes.
Okay. And everything that goes into that is selling price, transaction fees, right? Okay. So let's go back and focus on the goal. Do you have a goal for that? And then I'll tell you how we get there. How does that sound?
Good.
Are you willing to take on a little more? The other one is, are you willing to take on a little more risk of having the home for sale longer to achieve the price you think is ideal?
No, I want a quick sale, top price.
Okay. All right, so everyone wants a quick sale, top price. Perfect. That's my thing. Quick sale, top price. So just unearth anything you can about their sentiments, what they've read, what they pay. I couldn't tell you what I paid in the past. I mean, I think most people, it's super important what the commission is when we're negotiating. And then after the fact, you're like, oh, it's great, right? It's not that big of a thing. But that's a good one. Let's move on. I think buyers are the same way. We focus totally on sellers here, but we get so excited to show the property that we forget what our mission is. The buyer's job is to get you to work for free. Buyer's agent job is to protect their time and understand their intent, motive, and goal. Plain and simple. And if you understand the mission is, we want to see what homes look like in this neighborhood. We can't afford one for 5 years. That's a mission. You can take it or not. Right? But you need to understand what their mission is, what their goal is. And it could be buy a home in the next 7 days, or it could be look for a neighborhood we'd be comfortable in the future. Understanding that tells you how much time, because you can never spend too much time on a great prospect, and you can waste tons of time on those that aren't qualified. Okay, we know listing agents last. We want to grit and grow. Let's talk about how we get some listings. So TheShareGroup is a data science company delivering automated solutions that really address this problem of reliable data in real estate. So what we do is we take every homeowner, all the U.S. property database, and all the mortgage information. We build that together into one master database. We put that behind a map so that you can go in and click and find the types of prospects that you really want to work. Homeowners, phones, emails, property, mortgage information, all in this super easy mapping system. So it's for realtors and investors who want to call, mail, text, email, find opportunities, and primarily get them before they fill out a form or call a realtor that hasn't called them in 5 years. So let's put this link to the G3 lead shop in the chat window, please. Awesome. This is the Coach Pipe store where you'll find, what we're looking at, but building the top of funnel day by day. So most agents are not sure where their next deal is because they don't have a great coach, they don't have a great plan, and they don't have great data. But having these leads in your pipeline means that we're going to find listing opportunities in the next 3 to 12 months. When we start qualified lead generation programs where we do cold calling for our clients, we tell them, just so you know, we're looking for people going to sell in the next year. And you're going to need to sell a deal in March of 25, just like you need one in October of 25. So we're mining for those opportunities for the next year. We want to stay top of mind so when they're ready, you are the one that they call so you can be the expert. Now, while most of our top clients are strictly crazy good, focused, 3.5, 4 hour a day cold callers, a balanced approach does make sense. So if you look at it, if you're going to spend $5,000 a month, you might spend $2,000 in direct mail, $1,000 on online ads. Your pay-per-closes are now 30. I heard 40% of commission can go to a pay-per-close lead, which is pretty crazy. The platform buyer leads that you're buying in a territory, $500 to $2,000 a month. The phone calling is the least expensive, most responsive, I'll say it again, least expensive, most responsive way to find people that plan to sell in the next year. Unfortunately, responsive may mean go to hell, you're the 7th person to call me this week, or actually your timing is good and we're playing for the second, but you're going to get a little bit of both on those phone calls. So let's talk about why off-market leads. So we believe and we understand that expires and FSBOs can be a great source of business. We don't participate in that because it's public data. And we also know that if you look at the turnover rate, and I have a spreadsheet that has the turnover rate for every zip code in the United States, total number of homes sold the past 3 years. And that varies from 3%, high 2s, up to 7 and 8%. You can make a big difference in the zip codes that you work just based upon the turnover rate and how hot that zip code is. But using the demographic data, the property criteria, we're going to find the types of leads that are more probable to list than what would be a neighborhood or a zip code or a circle prospecting. Truly, the value is you because it's a It's a 20-cent lead and even less if you buy a few thousand leads. But how does that become a $10,000 commission? That is your bread and butter. That work that you do on those leads in that market to find the absentees are crazy good. I want to talk a little bit about those. We'll cover, all of the lead types that we have and maybe jump into the store. So high level, it's every homeowner. Every record has a phone. 25% have email. We eliminate about 30% of the homes in America that don't have a reliable phone. Any phone that doesn't work, we replace and put it back in your wallet. I'll talk about that in a second. But we infer the motivation for them based upon the characteristics of them as consumers and individuals, homeowners, their mortgage, and the home size and type itself. We can even take out the do not call before you place the order if you want to do that. So I don't want to cover this. We really compare the expensive platform, the public data to us, and we're just providing total selectivity, age, income, home value, length of residence, and giving you a good phone really on all those folks. So on the G3 lead store, you can get your counts. That's the first thing you're going to do. So if you click on that link, it takes I was told 20 seconds by Sean to create an account. If you click on that link, give us like 4 or 5 fields of information, hit enter, you're going to get a confirmation code in your email. You put the code back in and you're signing it and you're in. You haven't spent $1. You can look at the counts by zip code or by radius. You can see all the seller segment counts. Somebody on our team can do custom market selections with you. You can enter a name, address, a phone, or an email and look at the record we have for that individual. You can also upload public record data of names and addresses and get the phones and emails. You can obviously buy lead credits, download a mailing list, or anything like that. Those are all the things you can do. Anywhere data can go in real estate, TheShareGroup can do that with you. Okay, so in cold calling. So we're getting this home in about 5 to 6 minutes, so I think we're right on track time-wise, Coach Pipes. But
yep,
we interview our clients all the time and say, what are your results? So we want to share what they are, and these are certainly typical. As I said, this is the most efficient and predictable path to listings. But what does a normal day look like? Our folks are calling for 3 to 4 hours. They're doing 500 dials on a 3-line dialer. They're getting 2.5 leads that are interested or need follow-up, and 1 listing appointment every other day. My other guy in Colorado does 300 dials, 15 to 18 conversations. 15 to 18 conversations is pretty darn good in a day. If you think about when was the last time you had that many conversations in a day? 1 to 2 follow-ups, 3 nurtures, 1 appointment. Grit, grin, grow. This is the grit and grin part. The growth comes later. All right, so what kind of leads do we have? Downsizers. These are folks who have no kids. They've been there 15 years. They own less than 15% of their home. And they're going to say, when do we move to the beach? When do we get a smaller place? I want an HOA. I don't want maintenance. I want a condo, or I just want that second home. We got enough equity. We want to go do something. Absentee. These are super cool. So these are the VRBOs, the investment properties. You'll have all of the information on the homeowner, and then all of the homes are in the zip code that you targeted. If you buy multiple zip codes and you sort by the owner, you will find somebody who has 2, 3, or 4 homes. You call one person, you have 4 or 5 potential transactions. Those are people highly qualified, low risk, deserve tons of attention. You can't ever waste money by cozying up to those folks. Likely to sell are those folks that have a big chunk of equity, usually over 50%. They've been in a home at least 5 years. So they put money down and they have lots of equity and they're able to upsize because the equity that they bought has appreciated over the past 5 to 7 years. So those are the folks like, when do we get the bigger house, the nicer neighborhood, the country club, the likely to sell? Those are those folks. Force, and what I like to also call disrupted, means that the name has changed on the title or the deed, but it's not tied to the sale. So I did research. I pulled all of our divorce leads in Dallas, and 50% of them showed up on the divorce. We talk to these folks after the settlement. We don't go to the courthouse and see who's filed and go, hey, that's not where we're in the market, and probably don't appreciate that tactic. After you have 2 people on the title, it goes down to 1. That's a good time to call, because somebody is left in that home that used to have 2 people there, and their intent may be to stay long, or not. Distressed. There are distressed owners and there are distressed properties. What we're presenting here are folks who are distressed owners that have little or negative equity in their home. So they took out a loan, they took out another loan, the home value is not doing great. So if there is a disruption in income or some sort of unplanned significant expense, they could be looking to sell that home. They are not in foreclosure. They're pre-foreclosure. So I'm going to talk briefly about DNC because you all should make a conscious decision about this. If you call the DNC, you're going to have some risk. We know 2 or 3 folks who paid a fine. Of all the customers' conversations we've had over the past 7 years, 2 or 3 have been fined because they call somebody who only exists to capture cold calls. They have a deal with an attorney, and then they sue you. And those folks eventually get found out, but then they get another phone number. So that's a tough one. I can tell you that less than 10% of our clients will suppress DNC on their order. If you are a local person who speaks clearly to them as a local and a realtor in their hometown, I think that the risk of that is very, very low. Because if they say, if you identify who you are and you're local and you say your intent for calling, I think all of that angst goes down. It's the multiple calls day after day or bots or third-party offshore calls that kind of really tend to irritate folks. All right. So this is what the store looks like. Everybody see premium leads?
Hey guys, this is amazing. And what I love, non-subscription, sorry to take some fire, non-subscription, buy as you go, like use what you use, up more. Like there's just so much that Tim and the crew have actually done and everyone over at the company have done to be able to actually be user friendly. I saw Leanne, she's like, I'm on the site. This is super user friendly. Yes, it's designed. It's designed for agents, not for tech nerds. No offense to my tech nerds. I love you all.
Correct.
So.
Yes. So real simple. We've given you the link. You go there, create an account, sign in. You can enter a zip code. I'll go back to my old hometown in Overland Park, Kansas. And immediately I'm going to get a count. So this is just finding right to our database saying, what do we have there? So in a zip code 204. If I wanted to buy all homes, it's 3622. If I want to grab downsizers, I can also hit this little pencil and say, I want to do 1,000. Click save. We add it to the cart. I really want to focus on the wallet because this is the best data at the lowest cost. So if you said I would like to let's do 5,000 leads, it's right there. This is 1 year's worth of leads, and you download the records as you are going to use them. So 5,000 leads cost 16 cents a piece, $800. We click buy now. We will charge you $800. This little wallet balance up in the right-hand corner turns into 5,000. You go back to the store. You go, I want 500 leads. I'm going to work those 500 leads in the next week. I'm going to call all of them twice, 1,000 calls. I can do that, and I can look at the results after the fact. I want to try absentee now. Okay, go back to lead store, try another zip code. All of the leads are identified, whether it's absentee, divorce, downsizers. All of those are identified. They're downloaded into one file, actually separate files for each category. So you work them discreetly. You know the type of lead that you're working. And make those calls against there. As soon as you work through the leads, come back in. In the background, every week we are updating the phones and the emails. As I said, any phones that don't work, and there's going to be about 15%, which will be bad phones, you just go hop into the chat box, go, hey, ShareGroup, I have 150 bad phones. Okay, got you. Take care of it. Go back in your wallet. We put more leads back in. You're going to pay for every lead that you use, but you're not going to have any waste. That's what I like best about this. All right, Jared, anything I missed? Founder of the company. Jared, 2 minutes.
No, hey guys, Tim, you did a great job. I was just responding to some of the chats, and Coach, thank you so much for having us.
Bro, we are so grateful to be partnered with you, man. Like what you guys have created. Like, dude, you know what's crazy, Jared, is I'm such a prospecting hound, right? You know, and like this entire organization is prospecting based, marketing hands, and they all know that. That for me to come out and say, guys, this accomplishes both, and this is leans into them being able to still do both and market effectively while they're making calls. Dude, absolutely fantastic. What you
No,
guys-
totally. And you know, the only thing that I say is you know, if you build it, they will come. So if you do the work, you will get the success. We are the treasure map to the gold, but we're not going on the hunt, right? We're going to give you the whole map, and we're going to show you how to do it. But you're the one that has to jump in Jumanji and find that treasure map of stakes. But unbelievable to be able to speak with you guys. And any questions we have, we're all, you know, very customer facing, and you know, and service is one thing we can't control, and we want to be able to control that too.
Right on. I love it. And I've experienced that firsthand, like from you guys. So thank you, Jared, for founding this, for creating it. So much. Look, there's so much data sources, or not so much. There's multiple other data companies out there. I'm going to ask the obvious question, okay, that they can choose from. What separates this from all the rest?
What separates the TheShareGroup? Yes. So I think that the ease of use, be able to find your leads quickly, download them and import them, data quality guarantee, so that if a phone doesn't work, we're going to replace it. The selectivity to get to the buyer's or the seller's motivation and understand what that is and have a viewpoint for contacting them. Am I leaving anything out, Jared?
Yeah, and the experience. I mean, we honestly have been doing this, you know, 3 or 4 of us, 25 years each, in data, not real estate data. Didn't stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Decided to sell real estate data because I wanted to be an agent. It's what we know. It's who we are, and so I think our experience is a big advantage as well.
Amazing, love it. Yeah, and the guarantee of the phone numbers. That for me is just like, it's like language.
Yeah.
That hey John Cohn. That's like language to my heart right there. So, okay. Hey, I got a question. Okay. Tim, you've had, so obviously, like, watch, company gets stamp of approval from me, you know, from a marketing standpoint, from being able to actually like hit it from 2 things. Tim, you've had multiple exits from companies, right? Built them up, exited. These guys are building Jared, they're building 7-figure businesses. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What do you see as consistent in the success model for the companies that you've exited, Tim?
I have like 5 points on this, but the number one is the talent or the team. People buy companies for the talent or the team that exists. Number 2 is growth in revenue and earnings. So you have to demonstrate consistent growth. And from the next thing is really the product plan, or what you're bringing to market, how you're going to continue to accelerate that, how you've only touched a few percentage points of the market, and you have a clear path to continue that expansion and growth. So you have to continue to attract talent. You have to lead them appropriately, and you have to set the model for your team in terms of how hard you work, the quality of work that you're doing, humility, super important. Anybody on our team, and I say this, anybody on our team can be coached by anybody else. All you have to do is be willing to listen, you know, or willing to help.
Yeah. So good. And it goes back to the beginning you said, Bill. I mean, it goes back to the 7-step plan that you had. You know, even if it's 90 days or 9 years, you know, understanding and being able to get that feedback, and then how you execute it, and then make those adjustments. Because humility, or like Tim said, you have to be able to learn and adjust every single day, no matter what business you're in.
Amazing, brother. I really appreciate that. Hey, I like, honestly, from both of you, like from 2 titans. Any questions, guys? Questions about about the process, or questions about what Tim or Jared have actually covered? You guys got this all figured out? I love being on a call. Yeah, I love being on a call with someone that multiple individuals that have multiple exits, and we're just like, hey, what should I ask? So
we have scripts as well. There's interviews from other folks, other clients, TheShareGroup. So let's put the link to our YouTube channel if you want to hear what other folks have had to say about what their process is, how they do that. We're going to put up a video tomorrow of a realtor who has 2 ISAs in the Philippines. And I said, you'll hear this in the video, but put a link over to our resources. But what is your script? How do you start the call? It's like, hi, we're just calling to find out if you're interested in selling your home. And if it's anything other than hell no, it's on. And we don't ask, how are you? Because we don't try to establish rapport in a cold call. Because if they're interested, then your credibility, then your professional resume matters. But if they have no interest, or if they're going to ask you questions, and if they don't have any interest, then it's just a number to go through. So that dialer mentality as opposed to dialing one at a time is a way to separate yourself from the repetition of the call so that you can only deal with live folks on the phones. That's a huge value. We don't provide a dialer. There's lots of places we can go to get that, but if anybody's using one, there's some advantages there for sure.
Here's what I want to end with. First of all, sincere gratitude to Tim, to you, to Jared, to John, to everyone that's here from the ShareGroup. Guys, again, thank them in the chat. Give them like walking away. Now, here's what I'm going to end with you. Ready, Aurora? Spend time where it matters. Yep. This is what they give you the opportunity to do. This is what Michael and I pound into your guys' heads. This is why, Rock, we talk about knowing your $480 per hour to be able to get to 7 figures. You can prospect and cold call and still fail. Like you really can. Because what happens? You're spending all your time in the areas where there are no fish. I can go fly fishing with Paul Burdiner, one of our great coaches, right? And we cannot catch any fish using all the right bait and all the right flies and having read it. But if we're no fish in that pond, then you're not going to catch any fish. Spend the time where it matters. And these guys drilled it down for us. Hey, again, thank you, G3 Nation. You guys are all badasses, right? You are warriors. This is our time. This is our place. The market is ripe for the taking. Attack. Be the Vikings coming over to England. I guess that's not politically correct. So whatever. All right. Be the Raiders coming in and taking this market by storm. That's who we are. Remember that, warriors. I love you all. Thank you again to ShareGroup for being here. And guys, we got 7 days. Let's make them count. See you guys tomorrow morning. Some of you, the rest of you guys, see you Tuesday. By the way, ShareGroup will be with us in Vegas, I believe, right? So you guys will have a table in Vegas and they'll have questions so you can get those answers as well too. Peace, guys. Grit. As always, let's keep growing together. Bye-bye. Have a great week.